Here's what the player had to say when submitting their review. Hey man, love your vids. In this game I played Cloak and Dagger for the first round and we kinda got rolled. I was blaming the tanks for not making space or peeling, so I switched to Magneto myself. But now I think that maybe I was the one in wrong for switching characters instead of playstyle, since we got rolled over even harder. Would absolutely love an in-depth guide on Cloak and Dagger, positioning, ability usage, etc. As always, if you'd like your gameplay reviewed, make sure you check that highlighted pinned comment down below and reply to that with the information that I'm asking for, and your gameplay can be reviewed. If you're a member, you will have priority and your review will be reviewed first. Let's hop into this. So we're going to play Cloak and Dagger first, and then we're going to play Magneto. I will say that I don't have a Cloak and Dagger positioning guide or anything like that, but hopefully I can answer a lot of your questions in this replay. So right now we don't really know who we're going against, but we can see that they have a Venom, and that's the only dive character on their team, so you don't really need to be too afraid. You're trying to best keep people alive, keep people kicking. Not really much to say, you're just trying to get yourself out of spawn right now. Okay, now we do have to realize that we're playing with the Groot, and you always have to think about, well, where can I stand? How can I be more effective playing against the Groot? That's one of the main issues. A good way to remedy this is by going to the opposite side. So let's say if Groot is holding here, you would be up here, and you'd be on the other side. So if he should happen to put up a wall, you're able to heal because the person will be near you. We'll see if we can give any examples when it happens. Okay, so in this situation, you realize your tanks aren't pushing up, so what you're gonna have to do, especially as a Cloak and Dagger player, is you're going to have to use your ult to create that space. I would have also liked to see you move to a more aggressive position when your tanks took a more aggressive position. So tanks generally do move forward, even if they don't create a lot of space, they try to generate some space, even if they do it incorrectly. So as an example, here is that moment. Take a more aggressive stance with everybody. I probably wouldn't have just walked straight through, but you could go through here and be a body for your team. You could come over here and float yourself up to the top. Yeah, it sucks you're using an ability, but like it is what it is. And you can start doing stuff from here because you can even damage him as Cloak from here, which then allows him, or allows you to create that space because he's gonna back up because he doesn't want to be attacked. And you're kind of helping. So when tanks don't do it all themselves, you have to figure out a way to do it and accompany them and try to really bridge that gap of why they aren't doing something like that. What I will say is I actually created a video. I added a new series to the channel called The Breakdown Live. And what this is me coaching someone live. They're asking questions, and this player had the exact same problem. The title of the video is actually How to Deal with Passive Tanks. So I recommend you check that out. It goes over a lot of what I'm probably going to say in this, but in greater detail. If you don't know what her abilities do, the bubble heals over time, but the wall allows for more powerful healing. It enhances your healing power. So what you want to do when you are healing is actually throw the wall and then try to heal afterward. If you can get into a habit of doing something like that, you'll be good to go. You don't need to stack them. Like, you don't need to have the wall stacked with the bubble, but I'm just saying, like, if you're constantly throwing your primary to heal, throw the wall so the primaries do more healing for you. I am ready to put on a show. Wait, how do we use our ultimate? I just realized you don't have it anymore. What did you do? Oh, you got KO'd mid. Oh, that's unfortunate. Yeah, you don't want to, when you're Cloak and Dagger, most of the time when you're playing Convoy or Convergence, you don't want to use your ult as a defensive measure. You want to use it as a way to create space. She's one of the more potent and oppressive characters when it comes to offense because she can just push people back by using her ult. It's kind of unfair. Yeah, you might end up in a bad situation, but like if your tanks aren't moving forward, you just don't have to use that ult to be offensive. At least you gain a little bit of space. Especially if you have a low key, then you can just start throwing it out willy-nilly. So here, we really shouldn't be focusing too much on like chasing something around. We should be focusing on helping our team in the front. You're not going to KO a Venom or a Spider-Man or anything like that. We just focus on here. We don't turn around. Okay, he got us. Cool, he's there. We walk forward and continue to try to play the game. He's doing his job, which is distracting you, making you turn around and do all this crazy stuff. This is going to make it so that you guys stagger because your teammate's going to end up KO'd, and then you guys are going to end up KO'd. And now we have a staggered timer, and nothing is accomplished. Now you guys are trying to regain your composure, but you guys lost the thing. The thing has to come out of spawn now. I will always say it, no matter what support you are, try to find yourself an angle so you do not get collapsed on and ran over. You could do what you're doing from there, from here. You don't need to be so close. And this is going to be something that you're going to learn how to do as you climb the ranks, of course. But always try to find a spot where you can do your job without being so close to where you get caught in crossfire should they do something like this. Because there's nothing you can really do about it. Again, do your best to create space with your ultimate. You see how you just went backwards? We don't do this. Create space. Push yourself all the way through. I probably wouldn't have even ulted until his was done. The way that you just ulted was you were spooked that your team was going to get KO, so you just whipped it out. Don't do that. These players are big boys and big girls. They don't need you to handhold. Let them get out the way. They weren't in any inherent danger anyway when he started the ult. See, imagine if you did create that space and got closer. And maybe he got a KO and he was going to reset, but then he got KO'd mid-reset. And he could have wiped their entire team, but because you turned around and stopped making that space for him to continuously reset, you lose. Or at least you don't get to push anymore. Really get into the habit of using ults offensively as well as defensively, so you're not going to be caught in a trap. Good blind, I like that. Again, position better. We shouldn't be standing here. If we're standing here, we're standing further back. If we're standing here, we're standing here. If we're standing here, we're standing here. I probably wouldn't stand here to be real with you, but I would go up here. Give yourself more angles to stand. Find some angles so that you're safe, but you also have the ability to participate in whatever's going down. Because if you get caught in a crossfire, you're going to KO. You see how easy it is for these players to get to you and KO you? It's super easy. You only get away with it because they're missing their shots. But if they were to land anything, you wouldn't have survived that. Okay, same exact thing. We're gonna try to use our ult to make space. We already know both healers use their ult already on the enemy team, which means you're gonna be uncontested with your ultimate. I would like to see an offensive ult here. Keep going. No, don't turn around. Keep going. If you don't know, I don't know if you're doing this intentionally, but if you don't know, when you overlap the ults with like your last path, it doesn't increase healing, and I don't believe it stacks damage anymore either. So you're just kind of doing it for no reason. Continue to push yourself forward. I know you're probably like, well, I don't want to end up in a bad spot where I would ult this far and then, you know, I'm all out in the front. That's the point. You're using it to create that space. As long as you time it well, you'll be fine. At this point, you have off time. Off time is generally when nothing is happening. Use this as a way to find yourself a good position, a good angle for the next fight. Not doing stuff like this. because doing stuff like this means that you didn't take the time to find yourself a good spot, and you could be caught in crossfire or in a situation just like that. If we can prevent this type of stuff from happening, you'd be alive for a lot longer, and you'd be able to impact the match a lot more. So if we press tab here, we notice that you have 4 KOs, right? We KO'd 4 times. It takes about, I think it takes flat 10 seconds to get out of, to respawn if you're not in overtime, right? 10 seconds. If we do 10 times 4, that's 40 seconds of no game time. If we add the amount of times it takes to get back to where the fight is located, it can be 5 to 10 seconds. If the fight is over and you staggered and you have to wait for your team, that's a bonus, like 20 seconds. So if we just do the max number and we say I KO'd 4 times, but it takes me 10 seconds to respawn each time. On top of that, it takes 10 seconds for my teammates to respawn. On top of that, it takes maybe about 10 seconds for all of us to get there. So we'll just say it takes 40 seconds per death, right? Or per KO. So that's 80 seconds for 2 deaths, and then 80 seconds for 2 more deaths. That's 160 seconds. 160. That's 2 minutes and some change. You cannot play the game because you KO'd 4 times. That's phenomenal. How long is a round? 4 minutes usually. If you don't get checkpoints and stuff like that, it's 4 minutes. You waste a minute, or you waste 2 minutes and some change on that. 2 minutes and some. That's a lot of time. That's more than half the round. All because we KO'd 4 times. The more you KO, the harder it is for you to win. Keep that in mind. So this is why we make sure we do our best to sit in these locations and find a good spot to stay so we don't KO. That's the example right here. Look, you just KO, took 10 seconds to come back. You have to come back to the fight, which is about 5 to 10 more seconds. Then your team KOs, which takes 10 seconds for them to come back, so you have to wait for them to come back. If this happens repeatedly, you're losing out on a lot of seconds. Just like that. And this is why games are a lot harder than they need to be, because this type of stuff happens a lot. Moving on into the second round here, you know what else is moving? Considering becoming a member. I mean, move to the join button down below or the link in the description if you're considering becoming a member. To all of you that are a member already, thank you. You're the reason I can do this. Remember, if you are a member, you are going to get priority on the reviews should you want one. Also, there's going to be some more member content stuff happening. If you want to become a member, now is the best time because we got some goodies coming. And of course, if you just want to help support the channel and the content that I create, that's okay too. Thank you to everyone who does that. I really, really appreciate it. Let's continue the review. Remember to also thank them if you are someone that has gotten a review, because they're the reason you can do it. I don't know why that started in such a weird manner. All right, here we go. First things first, never hold this angle. There's no reason to. You're gonna get ran over. You're gonna have to hold at a better spot. Usually, the higher rank you go, the less people try to hold from locations like this, because you're gonna lose a lot more than you gain if you get ran over here. Excuse me. So what you wanna do is find spots that have a higher chance of defense. If you think about it, if you hold here, they can get you from here, they can get you from here, they can go up top and get you from the side. It might look like you're in cover, but you're not. Whereas if you go over here, there's not that many angles for them to really take you out, right? If you're here. So really think about like where's the best spot to hold on convoy or convergence, and you have a more successful time of holding those spots. But let's see what you do. Maybe you do back up.
3, 2, 1.
You don't. You try to hold that spot and you're forced to leave anyway. Luckily you don't KO, but you can see exactly what I was saying. You can't hold that spot. You almost KO'd. So you're solo tanking. Yeah, you're solo tanking. When you're solo tanking, your main goal is to just not KO. Like, just hold. You never want to turn around and start chasing. This is exactly what you do when you were playing support. You don't do this. Let those guys be. Focus more on what's in front of you, especially as a tank, because you're just gonna get ran over and you're gonna have to walk yourself back. But you do need 2 tanks. I don't recommend anybody trying to do 1 tank solo unless you know how. If you're playing with random people, it's better to go to tanks because you don't really know how skilled they are at handling a solo tanking experience. So you just play together. Yeah, this is one of those moments where you felt like you can do the job better and you couldn't, and then you're ending up in a bad situation. But also, you're solo tanking, so like that's even harder than just regular tanking. I would have asked someone to help. Just say, hey guys, can someone help tank? Because I can't do it alone. And people will do it no matter what. Because they want to win. Nice. You're so focused on that venom. Yeah, focus on the other people. Isn't it crazy to see habits transfer from role to role? This is why I speak on the players when I do these. I like to speak on the player and how they play, not necessarily what character they play. Because if you can improve how they play, you end up in a better spot no matter if you switch roles or switch characters. If you just speak on that character, well then you're not gonna end up a better player. You're gonna only know how to play that character, and we don't want that. We want you to improve as a whole. So yeah, we're not even like contesting the point. We're just running away, and yeah, it's pretty obvious that you should have stayed on Cloak and Dagger because you're probably a better support than they are, right? If I were you, I wouldn't get too frustrated at your team because there's a lot that we could have done during the game. There's actually a lot that we can do during all the games. So even though it may feel like, oh, my tank is very passive and we can never really do anything, trust there's a lot more that you can do, whether you're a tank, a DPS, or a healer. And as I said before, check out that video that I did, the breakdown live, because that was the player that experienced the same issue, but it was actually way worse than yours. So you can get more in depth on how to handle that type of situation. For the most part though, what I would focus on is being more aggressive with our ultimates, really trying to create that space with that, and try to position and find yourself a good spot to be so that when a fight breaks out, you don't have to scramble and get yourself to that position during the fight. You're already in a really solid spot. I hope this helps. Of course, if you have any questions, let me know in the comments down below. But thank you guys for watching. And if you want to become a member or you're considering becoming a member, click that join button down below or check the description down below as well, because the link will be there too. Until next time, you know what I always say. Thank you guys for doing what? Popping often. Often.